Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. I'm back in my kitchen. I'm no longer traveling. And I got quite a few questions while I was on the road, both when I was teaching a retreat down at Brighton Bush Hot Springs a few weeks ago, and then recently when I was at a memorial service in Yosemite National Park. Lots of sharing and interesting questions, and one of them that is very common, I've heard this many times, is where do I start? How do I begin? I know I feel so much suffering and difficulty and problems when it comes to food and eating, and my weight's gone up and down over my lifetime, and sometimes people have suffered from eating issues of some kind for years, decades, since they were a child. How do I start? They'll ask, how do I start? I remember having this kind of desperate feeling of I just need to get started. So I wanted to share with you a couple of things today. And I'm going to try to make it super simple and easy so it doesn't feel like too much information. Because if I wanted to go into it, it's my favorite topic in the world, healing eating issues. And sometimes it takes, great understanding in many different areas, but maybe it's not as complicated as we think. So, the very first number one thing that I strongly suggest is to understand that self-inquiry, that questioning your own mind and identifying the beliefs that you have about eating and food and pleasure, compulsion, family, the family dinner table, your body, how you think your body appears in the world. Okay, these are all types of thoughts, but the understanding is that to question what you believe is going to be an immense relief. It's going to actually alter the way you view all of these things. And the simplest way I've ever found to question, to deeply inquire into what's going on here. What is happening when it comes to this problem? Why are we eating when we're not hungry? The best way to sit with these concepts and beliefs and ideas, thoughts about how we're perceiving the world and ourselves, is to identify one belief at a time and then question them using the Work of Byron Katie. The best way to get a sense of the Work of Byron Katie, if you're totally unfamiliar with it, is to read the book Loving What Is. That was the first book she wrote. It's kind of a handbook, manual of this way of doing the work. It tells a little bit about who Byron Katie is herself and what happened for her. And then it gives you basically the 4 questions, which are the common questions used when we're inquiring, and how to just identify your thoughts in the first place, and then how to do the turnarounds, which is the last step. I know that sounds kind of complicated. Because of that, I am actually creating a short, like an Eating Peace Experience 101 course that covers how to do the work, because I really get that more often than I ever expected. I don't know why I didn't expect it. People don't know the work automatically. And to use this deep level of self-inquiry is very profound and very laser-sharp. Not as complicated as you think. It cuts to the chase. It's very, very interesting. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say, find out more about the work. Read Loving What Is. Google around on YouTube. Look at Byron Katie, who is doing the work with other people on YouTube. You'll be able to get a lot of good information. You can also go to thework.com and find out a little more looking at my website, Work with Grace or Eating Peace. Okay. So number 1, just familiarize yourself with the work and those 4 questions. All right. Number 2, which I also get a lot of questions about, and it's especially from people who are actually familiar with the work. They know about self-inquiry. Then they're like, where do I start? What do I question? I don't even know what I'm thinking. I just know I feel bad. Don't know what I'm thinking. So how do I get started? So today I just want to give you 2 thoughts that I strongly recommend you beginning with for to question, to break down, to not believe they are entirely 100% true, and act about in your life and eat in your life like they are true. The first one is, I have to change immediately. I have to change right now, instantly. I can't take another day. I can't take another minute. And that also is sort of the way we approach food and eating, isn't it? Like if you've ever binge eaten, you'll be like, the energy is so intense and wild and sort of focused and driven and like an explosion, urgent. This is an emergency. I feel that way about eating. I feel that way about stopping eating. I feel that way about losing weight. So let's just question that we need to do things at an emergency level right now. I mean, you may have been suffering for, as I said, decades around this eating issue, about the ways you've eaten and the binges and the heavy set weight and losing weight and gaining weight and all that. In some ways, what's interesting to notice is you've survived all that. Yes, it is painful. Yes, it is awful. It's terrible to have a situation where even from a young age, you're just eating becomes awkward and frightening and wrong. The people around you seem to live that way too. But if we could just question, it's an emergency right now with almost anything. An emergency that something changes now, today. Just see what that's like when you question that thought. Who would you be if you didn't think that was the case anymore, right in this moment? It just gives a little space to relax and sort of settle down. Like maybe we need to learn a few things about this big problem, that we haven't become aware of yet. Instead of finding a solution and reading another book and grabbing another diet and getting a big food plan organized or, starting a gym membership that we don't use, let's just settle down and open up our hearts and our souls to inquiring and to understanding this problem. This is sort of goofy, but it's almost like you don't want the problem to go away until you really understand it, and it just dissolves on its own. It just becomes something that's over, and everyone can have that gift. I know you can. So that's the number one thing to question, that it's an urgent, panicked, difficult problem. Okay. The second one that I want you to question, I got to look at my notes, so just bear with me, is, that you need to suffer to end this problem, that you need to suffer when it comes to food and eating. And that includes controlling your food, going without certain kinds of food, making sure that you're hungry, pushing yourself hard to the limit at the gym, not eating the things you want to eat, being on a diet, that you have to suffer to have what you want when it comes to your body, to succeed. An amazing thought to question. I mean, that's sort of like a diet mentality that people are just coming in with to this kind of work. It's like a sense that I must starve, go without, be hungry in more ways than one, even in emotional ways, in order to be successful, that it hurts. Pain makes gain. I would question that. Who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without that story? That you have to suffer to get what you want here when it comes to eating, thinness, normalcy. It is not true. That thought is not true. You can experience care, support, safety, pleasure, and joy in this life in a normal body, and you aren't making sure that you stay away from those terrible, scary foods out there that make you fat. You can just eliminate that kind of way, that reference point for the way you look at things. I know that's possible. I have found that to be true for me, and many people have dropped that kind of idea that you have to suffer. All right? So just those two thoughts today. Otherwise, this video is going to be super long, but I wanted to give you one third. So first, just familiarizing yourself with the work, then questioning those two thoughts. And the last thing is to do this little exercise. It's one of my favorite exercises. When you feel like you want to binge your head off, or even you just want to keep eating and overeating, or you can't stop munching on that thing and you're graze eating, you're emotionally eating, in other words, you're eating and you're not hungry, this thing that we do. When you find that happening, see if you can catch yourself. And if you can't catch yourself in the middle of it, do this as a separate exercise. Imagine that you are eating peace. Imagine what peace would look like if it took a form. It might be like pink or violet or purple colored, or maybe it would be golden or have a sort of gorgeous, gorgeous glow to it, and that you are actually taking it in your mouth, and it is filling your entire body all the way down to the base of your feet, and your body is filling up with this glowing color of peace. And it is absorbing inside of you like your body is a sponge, being filled with peace. You're eating peace, consuming, taking in, digesting, bringing it into yourself, so that you're, instead of, just imagine the feeling, instead of something that is hurting you, if you're overeating a whole bunch of sugar, but also trusting that something in you wants to take in, wants to receive, wants to have, and to, eat. What is it when we're eating? We're like joining with something on the outside of this world, and the outside of our own, whatever we feel like ourselves are, our own bodies, and we're taking it in. And we're becoming one with it. It's entering our system. So if you can take 3 deep breaths, I sometimes think of this as the appetizer to a meal. 3 deep breaths. And then close your eyes and imagine yourself eating a beautiful big bowl of peace and letting it fill your body and just seeing what happens and seeing if you can hold that feeling internally. Just a little tiny exercise, just something to try out. It's using your mind and your spirit and your, that brilliant sense of imagination for something that is supportive of you, rather than that panic mode where you do everything fast and drink it all in compulsively and all the time believing that you shouldn't be taking something in. So this is, we're opening up to, wow, this is wonderful to take it in. It's fabulous. And just feeling, listen to the sounds. Feel what it's like if you relaxed your skin right out to the edges of your skin and you took in everything. Maybe you can take in what's in the environment and the silence and the peace around you, even through your skin. It doesn't have to come in only through your mouth, in your imagination. Actually feel it. And from the bottoms of your feet and the top of your head, all around you. So it can become a quiet little simple meditation. Maybe for 5 minutes is all you need. See what happens. So the work of Byron Katie, questioning urgency, questioning that you're beginning to question your beliefs about what you think your body should or shouldn't look like. All of these things can be amazing. And that you have to suffer to succeed in this problem, and then try on eating peace as a practice. Just think of it as a practice. You'll get to see what happens. No plans. We don't know where this is going. You're just going to enjoy and see what occurs and unfolds. All right. Let me know how it goes. By the way, everybody, if you're interested in joining the Eating Peace Experience 101, I'm making kind of an intro, simple group with some of these beginning exercises to help us understand, and really be in the practice of self-inquiry, but also immediate ways to make small shifts, moving in eating peace rather than eating battles. That's going to start the end of July at the making of this video, 2018. So be sure you're on the Eating Peace mailing list so you can be alerted if you're interested in that. There'll be 6 live sessions and it'll be over about a 2-month period. So I look forward to joining everybody in that. It's going to be really fun. Nice, solid intro. All right. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.